Tinder was supposed to make things easier. No awkward first meetings, no guessing if someone was interested. You match. You talk. You meet. Simple. Or at least that's what I thought. Until I met her. Until I walked into that house. And realized I was never supposed to leave. Started like any other match. Her name was Olivia. Mid-20s, brown hair, green eyes. Pretty in a way that felt natural, unfiltered. Her bio was short and simple. Looking for something real. Love good food and bad movies. We started talking and it was easy. She was funny, sarcastic, just the right amount of flirty. I told her I was tired of swiping left and right, looking for something that never felt real. She agreed. Said she'd rather meet in person than waste weeks messaging. Felt refreshing. Genuine. She suggested dinner at her place. Said she loved to cook, and she'd make something special. I hesitated for a second. Meeting someone at their house on a first date? Probably not the smartest move. But she joked. Unless you're a serial killer, I think we'll be fine. I laughed. Agreed to come over. The night of the date I wasn't nervous. I should have been. But she had sent voice messages, selfies, even a quick video. Everything checked out. Or at least I thought it did. Her house was about 20 minutes from my place. A small, single-story home on the edge of town. No neighbors close by. Just empty lots, trees, and quiet streets. I parked outside. Checked my phone. She had sent a text. Come in, the door's open. Just finishing up in the kitchen. I hesitated. Something about an unlocked door felt off. But I shrugged it off. Maybe she was just comfortable, trusting. I stepped inside. And the moment the door shut behind me, I knew something was wrong. The house was quiet. Too quiet. No music. No sound of cooking. Just silence. A weird, heavy silence. The air smelled off. Not bad, just wrong. Like something chemical. Sterile. Not at all like someone was making dinner. Olivia. My voice felt too loud in the stillness. No answer. I stepped forward. The living room looked normal. Couch. TV. Some books on the coffee table. But the dining table was already set. Candles. Wine glasses. Plates. Like she had been expecting me. Or, like she had been expecting someone. I moved toward the kitchen. The light was on. Steam rose from a pot on the stove. But she wasn't there. The cabinets were too clean. The counters too empty. Like no one actually lived here. Like it was all for show. A chill crawled up my spine. Something felt wrong. I turned back toward the living room. And that's when I saw it. The hallway light was on now. It hadn't been a second ago. I swallowed hard. Olivia. No answer. The house was too still. The kind of stillness before something happens. Before something bad happens. I took a step forward, and the floor creaked. A sound creaked back. From the hallway. Like someone shifting their weight. Like someone waiting. My chest tightened. I was not alone. I turned to leave. Took one step toward the door. And then, the lights cut out. Instant. Total. The only light left was the faint glow of the stove behind me. And in that light, I saw a shadow move. Something tall. Not Olivia. And then, a voice. Deep. Steady. Wrong. You came. The moment I heard the voice, I knew. I had made a terrible mistake. This wasn't Olivia. This wasn't even her house. I turned toward the door. But something moved fast behind me. Too fast. I barely had time to react before an arm wrapped around my throat. I fought hard. Elbowed backward. Kicked. But whoever it was, they were strong. A wet cloth pressed against my face. A sharp chemical scent filled my nose. I knew what it was before my body even started to go numb. Chloroform. Panic surged through me. I tried to hold my breath, but it was too late. The room blurred. My limbs felt heavy. And the last thing I heard before everything went black was laughing. When I woke up, the first thing I noticed was pain. My head pounded. My arms ached. And when I tried to move, I couldn't. My wrists were bound. Tightly. Rope dug into my skin. I was sitting in a chair. My ankles tied to the legs. The air was cold. Damp. Not the kitchen. Somewhere else. A single light bulb buzzed overhead. The room was small, cramped, concrete walls, a basement, no windows, no way out. I swallowed hard. And that's when I saw him. He was sitting across from me, in another chair, relaxed, like we were just two friends catching up. Except his eyes. They were wrong. Too calm, too patient, like he had done this before. And he was enjoying it. He smiled. "Welcome back." His voice was low, steady. I didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. I was trapped. And he knew it. "What do you want?" My voice came out hoarse. He tilted his head. "I just wanted to meet you." His smile widened. "Isn't that why you're here?" My stomach twisted. "Where's Olivia?" He laughed. "There is no Olivia." The words hit me like a punch. He leaned forward. "She was never real." I felt sick. My mind raced. The photos, the messages, the voice notes. "That's impossible." He sighed. "You men are all the same." He pulled something from his pocket. A phone. My phone. He tilted it toward me. The screen was open to Tinder, to Olivia's profile. And then he deleted it. One tap. Gone. Like she had never existed. He stood up. Walked toward a workbench in the corner. Tools were lined up perfectly. Scissors. Duct tape. A razor blade. He ran a hand over them. Then turned back to me. "You have no idea how long I've been waiting for you." I felt like I was going to throw up. "Please. You don't have to do this." His smile faded. For the first time, his eyes darkened. "You still don't get it." His fingers tightened around the razor. "This isn't about what I have to do. This is about what I want to do." I pulled at the ropes, twisted my wrists, felt the fibers dig into my skin. But they wouldn't budge. I was stuck. And he knew it. The man watched me struggle. Silent. Smiling. Like he had all the time in the world. "You're not the first, you know." His voice was too casual. Like we were discussing the weather. "You won't be the last." He turned back to the workbench. Ran his fingers across the tools. Slow. Deliberate. "But I have to admit." He picked up the razor blade. Rolled it between his fingers. "I like you already." My stomach clenched. I forced myself to stay calm. To think. There had to be a way out. A way to survive. I needed to stall. "What do you want?" My voice came out hoarse. He tilted his head. "I already told you." "No, I mean, why me?" He grinned. "That's the fun part, isn't it? I don't know you. That's the point." His smile widened. "You made it so easy. You walked right in." He tapped my phone, still in his hand. "You gave me everything I needed to find you." I swallowed hard. "Someone will look for me." His expression didn't change. "Will they?" He held up my phone. The lock screen was off. The battery was dead. "You were supposed to be at home tonight, weren't you?" I didn't answer. "You told your friends you were staying in." He was right. I had. No one knew I was here. No one was coming. I felt sick. He knew everything. Had planned everything. And now, he was going to take his time. He walked closer. The razor blade gleamed in the dim light. "Have you ever really looked at yourself?" He crouched down. "I mean, really looked?" He grabbed my chin. Forced my face toward the hanging light bulb. "I think it's time you see what I see." He lifted the blade. Brought it toward my eye. The edge hovered just above my cheekbone. My breath hitched. I didn't move. Didn't blink. Because I knew. If I did, I was dead. Then, something thumped upstairs. Loud. Heavy. Like a door slamming. The man froze. Turned toward the ceiling. I saw it then. For the first time since waking up. His expression changed. He looked confused. Maybe even concerned. He wasn't expecting that. I took my chance. Jerked forward. Slammed my head into his. He staggered back. The razor blade clattered to the floor. I twisted my wrists. The rope burned my skin. But I kept pulling. Kept fighting. Because now I had a chance. And I wasn't going to waste it. He recovered fast. Too fast. His foot slammed into my chest, pinning me against the chair. "You shouldn't have done that." His voice was low, cold, controlled. But I heard it beneath. A slight shake. He was angry, and maybe, for the first time, a little afraid. Another thump from upstairs. Louder this time. We both froze. A slow, dragging sound followed, like something heavy being pulled across the floor. He took a step back. Eyes locked on the ceiling. I didn't waste the moment. I braced my feet against the floor, and with everything I had left, I ripped my arms free. The ropes tore my skin raw, but my hands were free. I lunged, gripped the razor blade from the floor, swung. The blade sliced across his forearm. Not deep, but enough to make him stumble back. Enough to make him angry. His face twisted with rage. He swung wild, fast. I barely dodged. His fist grazed my temple, sent me reeling. I hit the concrete wall hard. Vision spun. Pain exploded in my ribs. I gasped for air, and that's when I saw it. The staircase. Narrow, steep, leading up, a way out. I scrambled toward it. My legs screamed in protest. He was right behind me. I felt his fingers graze my back. I lunged up the stairs, 3 at a time, stumbled, almost fell, but I kept moving. Faster, faster. The door at the top was slightly open. I could see the light beyond. I reached for it. A hand grabbed my ankle, yanked me down. I crashed onto the stairs. The wind shot out of my lungs. Pain blazed through my ribs. He was on me, hands clawing, pulling me back. You don't get to leave. I kicked back, hard. My foot caught him in the face. His grip loosened. I scrambled up, shoved the door open, fell into the hallway. Wood floors, warm air. For a second, just a second, I thought I was safe. Then I saw the walls, the photos, lined up perfectly, row after row. And every single one was a different man. Bound, bruised, terrified. All taken in this house. All taken in this hallway. And under each photo, a single date. The day they disappeared. My stomach lurched. This wasn't his first time. I was just one in a long list. A collection. And now it was my turn. A crash behind me. He was coming. I bolted down the hallway. Turned a corner. A door and exit. I grabbed the handle. Pulled. It didn't move. No, no, no. I yanked harder. Still locked. Behind me. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. I turned. He was at the end of the hallway. Face bruised. Lips split open. Eyes burning with something cold and certain. You think you're special? He took a step forward. They all thought they were special. Another step. They all thought they could leave. I pressed flat against the door. Nowhere to go. No way out. His hand slipped into his pocket. Pulled out a knife. Something long and sharp. I clenched my fists. No weapons. No strength left. Nothing. Just me. And him. And a single locked door. Then, a voice. From behind me. Hey, freak. A woman's voice. Familiar. The lock clicked. The door swung open. And standing there, holding a loaded shotgun, was Olivia. The shotgun gleamed in Olivia's hands. She stepped into the hallway, her stance firm, barrel pointed straight at him. For the first time I saw it, his face changed. Not rage, not amusement, fear, just for a second. Then he lunged. Boom! The gun roared. The hallway flashed white. I flinched, hit the floor. The walls shook from the blast. I heard a thud, his body hitting the ground. Silence. Then groaning. He was still alive. Olivia racked the shotgun. Stepped closer. Her voice was ice. You sick bastard. I struggled to my feet. My vision swam. Pain ripped through my ribs. I turned and saw him. He was on his back, gasping. Blood pooled beneath him. The shotgun blast had torn through his side. He wheezed, coughing. But still he grinned. You shouldn't have come back. Olivia kicked his knife away, knelt beside him, pressed the barrel against his forehead. Her voice was low, dangerous. How many? He laughed. Even now, even bleeding out. You already know. I turned to the wall of photos. All those faces, all those men, each one with a date beneath them, each one gone. This had been happening for years. I faced Olivia. Who is he? She didn't look at me, didn't blink. He's my brother. The words hit me like a punch. I stared at her, at him. He laughed again, bloody teeth flashing. Not much of a family reunion, huh? Olivia's hands tightened around the gun. Shut up. I backed up. My mind spun. You knew about this? She finally looked at me, and in her eyes, I saw it. Regret, pain, guilt. I tried to stop him. Bullshit. She shook her head. You don't get it. I wasn't helping him. I was hunting him. Hunting. She exhaled. He's been doing this for years. I found out a year ago, but by then it was too late. He'd already. She motioned toward the photos. Her voice broke. I couldn't save them. I tried to process. Then why use Tinder? She swallowed hard. It was the only way to find him. So you used me as bait? She flinched, but didn't deny it. I didn't mean for this to happen. I was supposed to get here before he did. The man on the floor coughed, laughed. And yet here we are. Olivia pressed the gun harder into his skull. Her hand shook. She was hesitating. He saw it too, and he smiled. Go on, live. Do it. Finish what you started. Her finger twitched on the trigger. I stepped forward. Don't. She didn't move, didn't breathe. He wants you to kill him. She gritted her teeth. He deserves it. He does. But you don't. Her grip tightened. Her whole body shook. And then, she let out a long, shaky breath, lowered the gun, turned toward me. We call the cops. That's when he moved. Fast. Too fast. His hand shot into his coat. A second blade, smaller, hidden. I saw the flash of metal. Olivia turned too late. He lunged. I tackled him first. We hit the floor. The knife slashed across my arm. Pain ripped through me. I grabbed his wrist, twisted. He screamed. The knife clattered to the floor. Punched him. Once. Twice. His head snapped back. But still he laughed. You think you're the first? Blood spit from his mouth. You think you're the last? I saw red. I grabbed the knife, pressed it against his throat. His breath was ragged. Weak. Do it. I hesitated. His smile widened. See? You're just like me. A siren wailed in the distance. Flashing red and blue lights filled the windows. The cops were here. And for the first time, he looked afraid. I pressed the knife harder. No. I'm nothing like you. I stood up, backed away. Let them take him. They found 10 bodies in the basement, 20 more in the woods. They called him the Tinder collector, because that's how he chose them, matched them, lured them in. And when they walked through that door, they never walked out. Olivia disappeared after that night. Vanished. No social media. No phone. No trace. I don't know if she ran, or if someone made her run. Maybe she thought, after everything, she didn't deserve to stay. Maybe she was right. Me? I don't use dating apps anymore. Hell, I don't even date. Because sometimes, even when the profile is real, even when the face is familiar, you never know who's waiting behind the door.